Hi, Holly. How are you today, honey?
Okay, how are you?
Good. So, I mean, this is a little bit different from how we usually do things, you know?
That's true.
I know you said you don't really feel comfortable being in the clinic setting because of your situation with your boyfriend. You know, I'm happy that you're okay. I see your bruises went away.
Yeah,
and
finally.
I know you told me that for right now you wanted to do stuff at your school because he didn't know you were coming here.
Yes.
So
Safety first.
we're calling this session, although it's not that traditional, a little meet and eat, right?
Yeah.
And we can talk, we can eat our lunch, and then just kind of touch base and see where we are.
Yes. Sounds
All right,
good.
so
I like
please,
that.
Eat up.
Thank you.
Do what you need to do. Yes. So I know the last time we met, you know, we talked a little bit about you feeling safe at home. You talked to me and disclosed that your boyfriend of like 6 years been verbally abusing you, but then led to this physical altercation. You know, he broke 2 of your ribs, and you know,
Been painful, emotionally, mentally, physically. Yeah.
And there were some things that, you know, I feel like I didn't get to really talk about, but I just want to check in with you. How are you today? How has everything been in this week? What's new? How are you feeling? Talk to me.
Okay. Well, this
As I
week,
eat my pizza.
it looks good. I have been struggling this week, and I've had flashbacks about where it all kind of started, and I'm so sad, and I'm having a hard time trusting people. Like, it's been some time, you know. Well, I mean, it hasn't been long enough, I guess, since we haven't seen each other. I mean, obviously, my bruises took a little bit healing from when I broke my ribs. But, you know, I had someone try to ask me out, and I was just like, no, I can't do it. I can't move on. I can't trust someone and to know that it's not going to happen. I mean, my father did it back in the day. That boyfriend did it. The next boyfriend's probably going to do it. That's what's going on in my mind. And I'm just so sad about it. Like, am I going to be alone for the rest of my life? You know, I'm just...
Well, I mean, you know, Holly, you brought up a lot of great points. Remember, this is fairly new. And although many people think about domestic violence, right, as just someone who's physically abusive to you, but I mean, in our sessions, I mean, we talked about how he was controlling you financially, how he was abusing you emotionally, spiritually, and I mean, it just brought you to a different place. And in the end, he started physically abusing you. I know you disclosed it was just that one time, although you took a few weeks to come in. I kind of figured out what was going on once I saw you, but I was happy you was able to address those things. You know, first and foremost, are you feeling safe today?
I do today, yes.
Okay.
No one, when we spoke and I told you I didn't want him to know that I was coming to see you and that we met here at the school, he would have no idea that this would happen. I mean, he knows the campus, but he doesn't know, like, what days that I would be meeting. So I do feel absolutely safe. Yes, thank you.
Which is good. Did you ever get like the restraining order and stuff like that on him?
I did, finally. That took a long time for me to kind of get over that hurdle, because all I kept thinking was, if I did do it, that things would be brought up for some reason. But like you were saying, it's a way to, you know, protect myself, and I did feel protected when I finally did it. Yeah, speaking with the officers, that was good.
Have you been able to move out of your house? Are you back with your mom?
I am back with my parents.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. It is and it isn't, because I am a little bit worried that because he doesn't know where my parents live, that he's going to, like, do a drive-by and see if I'm there. That's the only thing. But I figure with the restraining order that should help, right? It's like, starting out.
Well, you know how a restraining order works?
Yeah, there's only a certain amount of feet that he can come in contact with me.
So,
right?
I mean, in the end, it is a paper,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And oftentimes, people don't feel safe just with that paper. But I think it's important that wherever you go, you know, if you are going to stay at your dad's house, even if coming to school, I think that's something that we can address in a safety plan. I think it's important we create here so that some of these agencies, without people knowing too much of your business, could help you stay safe as well. So while protecting your privacy, I mean, there's some things that we can do. So I think that at the end of today as well, I wanted us to kind of create a safety plan addressing those things. But before we get to that, I just wanted to also You talked about some flashbacks that you were getting. Do you feel like you're reliving the moment, or it's just because this is all new, you're just like having these moments in time where you're like, wow, I can't believe this happened to me? Like, talk to me a little bit about those flashbacks. And eat.
Oh yeah, so there was one flashback that does occur a lot to me, probably because this is where it kind of started, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So we were at a concert,
Mm-hmm.
and I was looking through my phone, and he's just like, this is when it really was on me about everything I was doing, between the money and like who I'm talking to, who I'm on Facebook with. He's like, well, who are you texting? I'm like, oh, just a friend, you know, just letting them know that I'm at a concert with my boyfriend. Why would you do that? Why don't you just pay enough attention to me? Like, why do you have to tell him, like, right now? And I was just like, I'm sorry. You know, I hate to say it. I was drinking a little bit, so I wasn't really, like, thinking of his feelings, I guess.
Yeah.
And he got insecure. Yeah. And I think that's where it all kind of started. And then I left the concert, and I started walking away. I didn't know he was coming at me, and then he hits me right in the ear. And that's where it started.
Yeah.
And I just...
So you almost like you just like, you know how some people just start connecting the dots?
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people connect the dots to move forward. Some people connect the dots to go backwards to move forward. So you're almost like, you feel like you're taking a step back to take some forward. Just kind of seeing like, wow, were the signs there? Were they not? Is that what you're trying to do? Like,
trying to see where the signs were, and I'm like placing it. And I'm like... That's where it started, was the insecurity. And then for me, myself, I was starting to see that I got so vulnerable at that point that a week later, I just went right back to him.
Yeah.
You know, I was just like, well, you know, there was no one else there I could have as a support line.
Yeah.
And he was making me feel good, you know, a week later, and then apologizing. So I just thought, well, might as well just try again, I guess. And I did it. I mean, not to mention my mom did it with my father. So
I know, and that's the other thing I was going to ask you. I mean, I know I'm happy that you're feeling safe with going home. You're out of the house you was in, you know, because I know he didn't want to leave, and now you got this restraining order. But you feel, I know you told me that you feel safer because you at least have other bodies in the house. But I mean, it must be triggering to you too, because of how you were able to see your dad do that to your mom. I mean, is he still like that with your mom? Have they grown past that? Like,
they have. It took a while though.
So I wonder, like, what does your dad tell you in this whole situation of things? Like, you know, do you feel like it's beneficial to you? Not beneficial? Like, talk to me about that.
He actually doesn't know about it.
Oh. Why?
Because I feel like if I told him, he really wouldn't understand or care, and to the point where I feel like he would either convince me to go back, you know, and also kind of like, you know, you can forgive him, like, look at your mom and I, and that's where I'm like, I don't want to even go down that road with him, because I feel like...
Does he know that you and him aren't together?
He does know that. I kind of made it like we are not suitable anymore. We're not good matches. That's how I kind of put it.
Because my concern for you is like, I would hate for what if Peter came to your house and dad is like, you know, so like, how much should you be telling your dad? I mean, if you don't want to get into the details, I mean, does your mom know what's going on? What is she saying?
You should tell your father. Yeah, but you're right. And on top of that restraining order, if he were to show up, my dad's instinct would be to call the police, you know, you have a restraining order. He doesn't even know about it. So now that you just mentioned it, I should tell him. I'm just so scared to talk to him about it.
Have you talked to your mom about that?
Yeah.
Why do you think you're so scared to talk to him?
I think because I don't think he'll understand.
I want you to think about that and what you just said, because you told me, I remember you sharing with me that your dad was very verbally abusive and then physically abusive to your mom.
Yeah.
And they reached this point, which you don't really remember because you were younger.
Yeah.
But then
That's true.
You remember this shift. Your father became more enjoyable and you didn't see any of those things going on as they were so visible, you know? Have you ever talked to your mom about confirming whether or not like your dad stopped hitting, you know, stopped being abusive, or was it something that you just assumed?
I just assumed because things got better for them, So
You
and they
never
weren't
asked them?
fighting as much.
Mm-hmm.
So I never asked him. Yeah, it's true.
So then I can see
That's
where your
okay.
concern is, because what if something's happening behind closed doors?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm hiding this,
Mm-hmm.
they could be hiding it as well. I
Mhm.
mean, they could be having this front, and not to mention, if I don't live with them, I'm really not gonna see if anything has escalated or gotten bad.
So
Yeah.
when you talk to your mom, what kind of advice does she tell you? I mean, I know she says your dad should know. I know she knows the whole story. What does she say about your relationship with Peter? Is she in support of it? Does she think there's other things you should be doing? What is it?
She's happy that I'm not with him. She's happy that I'm living back with them.
Mm-hmm.
She's all about me talking to my dad about it, and she does mention, like, I would really be sad for you to go back with Peter. Like, look at me and your father. It took so long for us to get where we are right now. I mean, that would have been probably a good prime choice to, like, ask her, like, is it really not happening anymore? Like, is dad not hitting you anymore? But I didn't. I was just kind of like, yeah, mom.
So do you think it's fair to assume that they are so past that, or you don't know?
I feel my dad is,
Mhm.
but not so much my mom, because she is so against me going back to Peter.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's like, listen, you're not married. You don't even have kids,
Mhm.
so it's not like you have that kind of keeping you staying
Mhm.
together and to try to mend it. And it's not like he did it once; he kept on doing it.
I just want to stop you real quick too, just because, I know the older times, and not so much older times, even present days. So many people hold on to that, right? They hold on to when there's children involved, when there's a marriage certificate involved.
Yeah.
And it's so easy for anyone to say, no, stick it out and stick around for the kids. Because it almost seems like when people are in these more committed relationships in terms of children, in terms of marriage, people try hard. Now, while there's many opportunities for treatment for an aggressor and a victim of domestic violence, right?
Mhm.
You still have to think, am I safe? Are my children safe, right? Is being in this, it shouldn't change because you have a child or a marriage certificate. It's how are you in this relationship. So I'm just saying long term. I know that we're going to start working on healthy relationships and do all these buildings to hopefully get us to a place where we could be participants in groups for DV and what a healthy relationship looks like.
Is there support groups for DV?
We run them
good.
here.
Okay.
I just wasn't sure where you are. If you're in the very beginning stages of just owning and accepting what is what, and I have to tell you that oftentimes many people go back because this is what they know, and for many different reasons. And it's not to make someone feel bad. This is definitely a life change.
Yes.
Some people compare it to a diet, for lack of better words, because it's so much about what you need to change to have a better version of you, but understanding what that would mean for you,
Yeah.
So my position here is going to help you to just have resources available. We're going to create a safety plan in terms of that. Always touching base with you because, I know you've expressed feeling sad, and you've expressed things that oftentimes make me wonder, should we be revisiting PTSD? Should we be revisiting depression? And although you've touched upon many things that would have me think about that area, we're still in like almost a gray area yet, where there's not a diagnosis for those things. You just went through something. And for some, and not just something, it's life-changing.
Yeah.
So it's helping you rebuild these pieces and just letting you know that I am here. And there are other people that can be here for you. Even if mom's house doesn't, work out for you.
I have a question about the groups.
Talk to me.
Is it, because just talking to my mom alone, I'm like, I can see where she's kind of steering me in one direction, but I'm wondering if talking to other people might kind of help me realize what's good for me, or...
Absolutely. I mean, before you leave here, when we create our safety plan, you know what, let's just start creating our safety plan now, because a lot of those questions you're talking about, we can put on here.
Okay, cool.
So in terms of contacts and resources, I mean, who do you think is a great contact for you in terms of safety if something's going on, if you're in the area, Because let's talk about
It's like
Your place of residence.
Yeah.
Place of employment. Where else do you do? You have school, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, if something was happening or you were in fear for your life, who would you call? Like, first and foremost, who should be the...
Well, for my life, I would say 911.
911.
Okay, cool.
When will we be calling 911?
When I'm in, like, serious danger or if it's, like, life-threatening. Okay. Or if I feel unsafe and I need help, but I don't have, like, you know, friends or family around.
And remember, what's the other thing that you already have on file in the event you don't have it on you? The restraining order.
Yes.
So,
true.
I mean, you don't have to be, and I hate to say it this way, but you don't have to be someone where let's say Peter comes up to you and Peter starts, it doesn't have to get up to him hitting you and hurting you. Him just being present. That's what that paper protects you from.
Okay.
So that if he's in an area which he's not supposed to be in, you know, sometimes we don't know what he's doing. You can have a doctor's appointment, and if he has a doctor's appointment, he should know automatically that he needs to leave.
Okay.
And if you feel like he shows up and he doesn't leave, you know, is it safer for you to walk to your car? Or is it safer for you to go into the receptionist and let her know what's going on?
Go on the receptionist.
So I think something else that's important that we should also talk about is, with this restraining order, who do you think should have a copy of that without making you feel like people are prying into your business?
My parents.
Parents, okay. So the goal is to make sure parents have a copy of your restraining order against Peter.
Talk to my dad about that. Restraining order for sure. Okay.
Who else should have a copy of that?
Work.
And does that mean everyone in your office needs to know?
No.
So you can touch base with perhaps maybe your supervisor and maybe HR?
Okay, yes.
What do you think about that?
That sounds good, because I don't really need everyone getting into my business, for sure.
I don't blame you.
Anywhere
else?
Okay.
I think we could even think even more broader, because we may meet, right? But where are we meeting at?
The school.
Today, right?
Yes.
So, and how would people know who he is? How does he look? What would you provide them with the restraining order? What do you think?
Description.
Or maybe a picture?
Yeah.
Maybe a picture?
Yeah.
Okay, so update a picture. Include the picture with the restraining order.
Okay.
I mean, your parents don't need that, but perhaps work
needs
school.
Because they're not going to know what he looks like automatically. Unless they're on my Facebook, yeah.
Okay. We can say healthcare providers.
Yes.
And that would include me.
Yes. Like PCP.
I know we're a little bit all over the place. So the goal is what do you think the goal is? The goal for us here with creating this safety plan is to keep you what?
Safe.
Right? To keep Holly safe. What are we keeping you safe from?
Peter.
Right now. And these are things that could always be updated.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure you are safe. In the environment that you are in, you are safe. And I know you have so much going on, but the other thing too is always making sure that you are safe even for yourself. It's a lot.
It is.
To try to alter your life and make things work. So, you know, I know we've never really touched upon certain things, but I want to just make sure, like, how are you handling all of this? You know, how are you getting by? What are some of the things you're doing? Talk to me about that.
I'm doing more, walking in the woods more. Especially places that you wouldn't be able to find me. I feel much safer because I'd be lucky if I even have cell phone service there.